Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a review slash thought video, and this one's going to be a double review slash thought as I take a look at season 2 or season 12, depending on how you want to look at it, of Hulu's Futurama and season 1 of The Penguin on Max. Both shows I just finished watching this week. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Futurama is rated TV-14 here in the US, while The Penguin is rated TVMA here in the US. But we'll start off with the first part of this video will be focused on Futurama and all. Now, when it was announced that Futurama was going to be brought back to life last year, though, I thought that was kind of interesting because that kind of series cannot die. We've seen it basically canceled, brought back, and canceled, though. And of course, last year's season was actually pretty good and everything like that. And I did enjoy it, though. And now with the new season, although this premiered in July and everything like that, I finally got a chance to watch watch all 10 episodes. And coming away from it, though, it still maintained, the humor and stuff that Futurama fans love and enjoyed, and I certainly think that is a very good thing indeed. So I'm going to break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed or not 100% sure about. In terms of what I like, there were a couple episodes that I thought stand out the most, at least from my view, though. Episode 7, Planet Espresso, where basically Herman's basically discovered found his long lost dad, and he was working on a coffee farm and everything like that, and turned Planet Express into a Planet Espresso. Basically, almost kind of poking fun at Starbucks in general, though. And the show does poke fun of stuff that's going on. I mean, the first episode of season 12 basically was making fun of NFTs in general, the whole blockchain situation you kind of see with that. So that one stood out. The Futurama Mystery Library, where they got, I think, LeBron Verm, if I'm saying his name correctly, who hosted, Reading Rainbow, also played Geordie LaForge in the Star Trek The Next Generation series, everything like that. And I also like how they made fun of some of those old books, like you made fun of like Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys, and so forth, and even Tintin as well. So I really like how they were able to sort of poke fun at that, though. And the Temp one, episode 3, was also interesting and kind of creepy at the same time, as someone basically is trying to become the new Fry and everything like that, take his place and all. So I thought those episodes, in my view, stood out the most for season 12 of Hulu's Futurama. And I also thought that the final episode, the season finale, otherwise, episode 10, I thought was also kind of interesting, as it kind of sort of was a what if, basically, how basically they were retiring, the Planet Express, and it fell into this pool, like this sort of galactic pool, a certain thing, and Fry started to see what life was like if things were a bit different, even making reference to what was once the series finale of Futurama when it was on Comedy Central. Basically, when Leela and Fry were supposedly married and everything like that. So I like how they made some references to that, though, and how the season 12 finale ended, though. It does make you kind of wonder if they're going to do a follow-up or continue see where it goes with season 13 if it does happen or anything like that. So episode 10 otherwise was also interesting. As far as what I didn't like, mix, or I'm not 100% sure, I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see a follow-up to episode 6, Attack of the Clothes. This is where basically Farnsworth becomes basically a fashion designer, and they make fun of fashion in general and everything like that. And supposedly where they dispose this clothes is basically into this portal that dumps the clothes into the future and everything like that. And the episode ended where a lot of the clothes basically from the future come to the current timeline in Futurama, and make fun of environmental stuff indeed. I was a little disappointed we didn't get a follow-up to that episode. I would have loved to have seen a part 2 and figure out how they solved that problem and everything like that. Overall, I enjoyed season 12 or season 2 of Hulu's Futurama, or season 12 Futurama in general. I thought the humor and everything was there. It still maintained a lot of stuff that Futurama fans loved and enjoyed. At its best, though, I do think there were several episodes, episode 7, episode 9, and episode 3, I thought stood out the most. And I also thought episode 10 was interesting, but at its worst, I was a little disappointed we didn't get a follow-up to, or part 2 of episode 6, Attack of the Clones. But in either case, though, I still came away pleased with this season of Futurama on Hulu. I'm open to hopefully maybe another season if it does happen. It's possible. I don't know if we've heard anything yet, though, but or at least as far as I'm aware of. But if another season does happen, I definitely would be down to watching another season of Futurama on Hulu and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2 of my double review. And this one is I want to give my thoughts on season 1 of HBO Max, or Max, The Penguin. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my double review on some of the TV shows. And for this one, I'm going to be taking a look at season 1's Max, The Penguin and all. Now, when the Batman movie premiered, I believe it was last year, and had Rob Patterson, I think that's his name or anything like that, playing as the Bruce Wayne, the Batman, there were a lot of people that were kind of curious because he was known for, being in the Twilight movies and everything like that. But his portrayment was actually pretty good at everything like that. And it was actually a very well done movie. It felt like a bit of a sort of a crime drama or detective noir, especially with the portrayment of the Riddler and also a lot of the characters and everything like that. And it was actually a very good movie indeed, though, and it's worth watching, though. One of the characters that stood out was the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. Now, the character has been played by different characters, different actors before, whether it was, the original, Adam West Batman series to, Tim Burton's Batman Return, where Danny DeVito portrayed the character. And, of course, the Penguin has also been voice acted by different people before, especially for, the Batman, the animated series. But Colin Farrell's portrayment of the Penguin was very interesting, especially as being one of the henchmen for Carmichael Falcone, if I'm saying the name correctly, and everything like that. So it was sort of interesting to hear that character was going to get his own mini-series to a certain extent, and I was very curious to see how this was going to play out and all. And after watching basically all 8 episodes, I will say I actually came away very impressed with this miniseries and everything like that. And I certainly would be open if a second season, if it does happen and everything and so forth. So just like with Futurama, I'm going to break it down into what I liked and what I didn't like, mixed, and not 100% sure though. As far as what I like, as I mentioned before, I thought Colin Farrell did a very good job portraying the Penguin and all. I definitely like his portrayment of the character. I like how he's trying to move up to be the new crime lord of Gotham City and everything like that. I also like how some of the other actors and actresses, like Clancy Brown portraying Maroni, Salvatore Maroni, I thought his portrayment was very good. And Cristin Milioti basically portraying as Sofia Falcone's daughter. I like her character indeed. I like how she was very unstable to a certain degree. I definitely like that portrayment. And I thought Rehenzy Feliz, if I'm saying his name correctly, playing as Victor Aguilar, again, if I'm saying the character's name correctly, I thought he also did very well, being, loyal to, Oswald Copperpot, the Penguin and all. I definitely like his portrayment of his character, being like his second in command to the Penguin in a way. So his definitely stood out very well. But obviously, Colin Farrell's portrayal of the Penguin just knocked it out of the park in this series and everything like that. I also like how there were some flashbacks of the scenes of basically when, the Penguin, was a kid and everything like that. I like how they portrayed his behavior as a child, ranging from what you learn what happened to his brothers and what he did to them and everything like that, to, in a way, being somewhat of a mama's boy to a certain degree, although I do think the way it was portrayed can be, I would say, a little bit disturbing to a certain extent, at least from my view and all, but still, I like how some of these flashback episodes, flashback scenes of basically how he was when he was a child, and how his mother found out what happened to her two sons and what he did to his brothers and everything like that. So I thought that was definitely neat and all. And last but not least, I do like how they aim for a bit of a mob show vibe to it, though. In other words, it feels more like it's closer to like The Sopranos to a certain degree, for those who like that show and everything like that. I definitely like how they made it in a way, and you kind of get that vibe to it, especially when you see, the Penguin, trying to start up his operation, building his criminal empire and everything like that. So I definitely like the mob show vibe to it. As far as what I didn't like or mixed or not 100% sure though, I was a little disappointed with how the shootout or the battle between Penguin versus Maroni ended or played out and all. I thought it was kind of neat to some degree, but I was a little disappointed where, and this might be a spoiler for those who may have not watched it, basically, exactly what happened to Maroni, which ended up more like he got like a heart attack to a certain degree though. So I wasn't really thrilled with how the battle or the shootout played out in that scene, to be exact though. I also was a little bit disappointed to what happened to Victor Aguilar, which it was a little bit disappointing to see his fate pretty much sealed in the movie though, and you see in the show, and you see what happens on the final on episode 8 and everything like that. It is a bit of a shame because I would have loved to see how he would be portrayed in the Batman Part 2, because we know supposedly the Penguin will play a part in that, and it would have been nice to see him continue being, the Penguin's, right-hand man and everything like that, or second in command. So I was a little disappointed with them kind of, well, let's just say killing them off and everything like that. And last but not least, and this is going to come down to your preference and taste. Those who like, The Sopranos and all will probably enjoy what the Penguin does, but those who are expected to be on the same scale as the Batman movie might be a little bit disappointed with how it is, though. I mean, I don't think it's bad that they went a bit of a different direction with this, being more of a mob story, as I mentioned, but I can see where some might be a bit disappointed if they were hoping to see, to be on the same scale as the Batman, some action sequences here and there. So it might be disappointed for some folks out there and all. Also, despite it taking place in the same universe as where the Batman movie is, you really don't see Batman or Commissioner Gordon or anything like any of those characters, at least in this show. The only time you might see Batman is, I think, the ending for episode 8, where basically you see the bat signal going up, but other than that, that's basically it. You don't really see, the character is almost like non-existence to a certain degree. Maybe in episode 1, just like with the Riddler, there is mention of him in, like the first episode, and some scenes about what he did in terms of the reaction of the flooding of Gotham, especially when Victor saw what the flooding, see the explosions happening, the flooding that killed his family and everything like that. But I would say if you're hoping, like I said, if you're hoping to be on the scale of the Batman, you might be somewhat disappointed with what you see. Overall, I still came away pleased with watching The Penguin. I thought it was a really good miniseries, and I thought it's definitely one I would recommend, especially for those who might be fans of Batman or Matt Reeves' portrayal of Batman in general. At its best, though, I think some of the casts are really good. Colin Farrell still did great playing as a Penguin, and some of the supporting casts, though, are also really done well. As I mentioned, I like some of the flashback scenes to what the Penguin was like when he was a kid and everything like that. And the show definitely has a mob vibe to it, though, and for a lot of people that may not be a bad thing, especially if you were a fan of like The Sopranos. But at its worst, though, I wasn't a fan of how the Penguin and Maroni battle played out, though. I was a little disappointed to what happened with Victor, because I would have loved to see him in the Batman Part 2, depending on what kind of role the Penguin is playing, though. And again, those who were expecting it to be on the same scale of like the Batman movie, you know, like with the action sequence, might be a little disappointed with how the show plays out. But in either case, I still came away pleased with what I saw. It definitely is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in the Batman Part 2, which I believe comes out in 2026. And I would absolutely be open to a second season if it does happen. I don't know if it will, but given the response to the Penguin, given the positive response to it, though, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that a second season would happen. I also wouldn't be against the idea if they do one based off, you know, Catwoman and what she was doing during, you know, in the Batman universe, or even one based off of Commissioner Gordon as well. So I would definitely be open if they do that to a certain degree. But in either case, I came away pleased with watching the Penguin, and it's definitely one I would recommend you watch if you have, you know, Max or HBO Max, however you want to call it. It's called Max in it at all. But in either case, it's definitely a show I would recommend watch it and all. Okay, this concludes my double review of Season 12 of Futurama and Season 1 of The Penguin. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Season 12 of Futurama? Did you like some of the episodes that were out this season? Were there any that stood out for you the most, or were you disappointed with this season, though? And what are your thoughts about Max's The Penguin, though? Did you think it was a really good show? Do you like the approach of being more like a mob story to a certain degree, though? Were there other actors outside of the Penguin, you know, played by Colin Farrell, that you thought stood out the most in this show, though? Would you be open if a second season were to ever happen in any way? And are there other characters like Catwoman or Commissioner Gordon do you think they could explore in this the Batman universe to a certain degree? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put out. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!